Awesome. Yeah. So from the dawn of time, like humanity struggled with some fundamental questions. Like, does God exist? Are we alone in the universe? What's the meaning of life? Is there life after death? And I can't answer any of these, so I'm going to be talking about Copilot today. But I do have some advice, I guess, on one existential question on how to be happy. And my advice to that would be to find that one person in the world who loves you, who unconditionally, you love unconditionally, supports you, and most importantly, laughs at all of your jokes with you. And that's my person. And that's us laughing at a joke together. So hey, I'm Sean. Like Mary pointed out, I'm founder of Ruby for Good. I'm on GitHub's social impact team. And 2 fun facts about me. One in 3 people find my sense of humor funny. And 2, I'm originally from Canada. So today we're going to be talking about Copilot, like what it is, how to use it, what it isn't. We're going to do some live demoing. Then we're going to talk about For Good First Issue. Then we're going to do a second live demoing, because live demos are a lot like second breakfast to hobbits. 2 is better than 1. But before we get started, who here has ever contributed to open source? Cool. That's a lot of people. Maybe a second question to that. Who's ever felt a little bit like intimidated to contribute to open source? Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think there's a lot of people in open source that are not always super kind. Linus. But right, so I think a lot of people get intimidated, and especially too, because I think a lot of people in the industry say like, hey, you should contribute to open source. Open source is your resume now. And so, like with that in mind, let me ask you another question. Who likes dogs? Okay. I think I like everyone here except for the one person who didn't put their hand up. Kidding, I like you too. Dogs, cats. And so I want to tell you all about an awesome opportunity. Tomorrow, we're doing a workshop where we're going to be using some of these Copilot tools to contribute to an open source project helping animal rescues. And so specifically Lucy here, we're going to help Lucy get adopted. But if you don't want to help dogs, you shouldn't come. But right, so tomorrow we're going to, in the workshop, everyone who comes is going to get a pull request in on an actual open source project, helping animal rescues, which is pretty cool. And so if that is something you're interested in, after this talk, we're going to be in the main area with the sponsor booths, helping kind of get people set up for tomorrow. Like you don't have to come, but it'll save some time. So if you are coming, maybe look for America there, or Adam, America, wave your hands, or me, and we'll help you get installed, because we're going to get you added to a GitHub Enterprise organization, get you access to Copilot, and all these kind of fun things. But cool, let's talk about Copilot now. And for those of you who aren't aware, I don't know if there's any of you now, but so Copilot is your pair programmer, like your virtual or your AI pair programmer that is going to make all your coding hopefully a lot easier. And I love it because I have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I'm very nervous sometimes talking to my friends, asking questions I think I should know. And so I love having Copilot, having this virtual person that I can ask all my maybe stupid questions over and over and over, and Copilot never gets annoyed. It's amazing. And most of us interact with Copilot, or you're going to interact with Copilot via an extension in your editor, whether it's Vim or VS Code or IntelliJ, Visual Studio. And those are the official supported plugins, but if you're crazy like Adam and use Emacs, there's an unofficial plugin, and there's a Sublime plugin, and they're pretty much every browser or every editor, there's a plugin for it. And Copilot is more than I think people have this idea that it's like autocomplete in your editor, and it is that. But it's actually now it's an entire AI pair programming kind of ecosystem. There's the Copilot chat, there's Copilot on GitHub.com where you can talk to repositories. There is on the command line, Copilot. It is pretty much everything you need to do so you can stay in a flow state and not have to jump over to Stack Overflow, look for something, jump to Google an answer. It's all right there, so you can just kind of keep working. And yeah, and it's amazing. It helps you be a software engineer better and remove a lot of the cruft so you can just work. Like I don't know how many times I've written getters and setters and set state hooks and these things that you've done like a million times, and it just removes like kind of all the cruft from your working, and it allows you just to get to the code and work. But like Copilot isn't the be all and end all, and something you'll hear a lot is that Copilot is not a compiler. And what that means is like Copilot, like any LLM, it's just a really fancy autocomplete. And so like it is going to give you like some code that it thinks is the answer, but that code may not compile, or might not run. Like maybe it's missing a parentheses or a semicolon or hyphen or something. But like at the end of the day, like you have to understand the code yourself. And Copilot, like any kind of pair programmer or even yourself, you want to use good programming conventions. And what that means is you want to use good variable naming. So if you're going back to your code in 6 months, like you want to be able to quickly read and understand. And the same thing like with Copilot, like another individual. And like something I like to say is like in the pre-LLM world, there was an expression, trust but verify. But now that we have LLMs and things like Copilot, I think we need to like verify, then trust. Like just for this reason. And like to give you all a practical example, I was contributing to an open source project, and I was building a background job that was very intensive. And so I was working on it, and I asked the maintainers a question, and they said, okay, well, because it's such an intensive job, we should only run it on the active organizations. It's like, okay. And then obviously a little bit of back and forth. What denotes an active organization? It's an organization where someone had logged in within the last 4 months. Okay. And so I started with a test. And this is the test, and it's all green because I copied it right out of GitHub. And again, like I know maybe not everyone here is a Rubyist. I know no one's perfect. But like the test should be pretty simple. Like I created 2 organizations, like an active organization and inactive. And I added an active user, like someone who'd logged in the last month to the active organization, added someone who was last active 6 months ago to the inactive organization. And then my test just said like, hey, when I run this database query, the active organization should only contain the active organization there. Makes sense? And so I asked Copilot, hey, write me some code for this. And this is the database scope that Copilot wrote for me. And actually, this test, or this actually made the test pass, and so it was valid code. But if there are any Ruby people, or any people maybe who can just intuit this out, because Ruby is very readable, does anyone see the problem with this? So the problem with this is it was grabbing. So if an organization had, let's say, 10 users who had logged in the last month, this organization was going to show up in that scope 10 times. So this was going to make this a very, very intensive query for the, or very intensive run, because it's going to run 10 times, not 1. And so again, like that's why like we're even more valuable now that there's these tools. And again, like all I needed to do to finish that query was just add a unique call at the end or a distinct call, and brings it just down to 1, and it worked. Cool. So let's jump into some demoing. Yay. Okay. So and this is the Homeward Tales app, and I'm going to start just kind of show off like Copilot on GitHub.com and how we can use it. And this is the actual app anyone who comes tomorrow, this is what we're going to be helping. This is one helping animal rescues. But so we see here we have like a little Copilot here we can chat with, and kind of like, for example, like maybe we're another organization building a similar thing, and we're curious how this group is building like multi-tenancy and adding in tenants. And so like we can ask Copilot. And it actually even prompts you some questions you can ask, but like, how does this project handle tenants and oops. Cool. And again, this is live coding. I don't know what it's going to give us, so. Come on. Okay. Yeah. So it's querying it, and it's jumping through. It's reviewing the like the code base and like running through, and it's giving us like a, oh, is this large enough? Should I make it a little bigger? It's good? Okay, cool. And so it kind of walks through here, and again, like if one of these is kind of interesting to us, like, oh, the middleware, how does it do the middleware? And again, like we can go explore the code, and now that we're in the middleware, you know, we can read through, or like, hey, like what does this call method do? You know, let's ask Copilot here, like right in the browser, like, what is this call method doing? And again, so it's explaining it, and it's talking about how it's bringing in, it's reading the what's getting passed in from the HTTP request. But it's great. So like we don't have to like clone these projects down now to do exploration, to do querying, to ask questions about it. And again, it's not just the code base. Like if we're curious about what's happening on a pull request, and I don't know, like here, let's jump into a pull request, and you tell me in this PR. Right. And again, we can talk to it in natural language, and so it's going to grab this information. And like I find this like, again, like as someone who helps maintain and oversees like many projects, like for me, this is really, really valuable as a maintainer, because like I can jump into a project, you know, like if there's a lot of discussion, or like someone says like, hey Sean, there's a lot of discussion happening around this issue. You should probably go weigh in. And right, and so like we see here too, like it kind of just talked about the thing, and I don't know, maybe there's not a lot in here, but and the same thing too, right? Like we can jump into an issue and we can have it summarize. I don't know, where's a big issue if there's one? A lot of I don't know. It's the same thing. Like, can you summarize this issue and talk about next steps? But right, like I said, like as a maintainer, like this is great that I can like just kind of jump in. I can ask some questions of like issues maybe where there's a lot of conversation going on. I can ask it to summarize what's happening. And two, I can also ask too, like, hey, are they asking for my help anywhere? Is there anywhere like, you know, they're being blocked by me? And right, and so like it's like for me, this is so fantastic as a maintainer. Cool. Let's jump into some actual code now. Okay. So this is VS Code, and this is like the actual code of that project. I've cloned it down, and this is probably more what you're familiar with Copilot, or if you're not familiar, like the regular Copilot that we're familiar with is, you know, where just like auto completes what we're doing, and so like we can add in a couple things. Like let's add in like a full name. A full name, and see, it's just going to complete. It knows what a full name is. Maybe we want, I don't know, like an initial. We want initials, which is going to be right, something like that. And again, because Copilot has seen a full name 1,000 times, it's seen like these things a lot of times before. But if we want to do something maybe like a little less obvious, oh, maybe I should move that up, easier to see. If we want to do something a little less like obvious, that like a different method, like perhaps we want to do like an organizational name, because like there are, you know, again, there's going to be 100 animal rescues using this, so there's going to be multiple John Smiths and multiple Rajesh Patels and multiple Sally Johnsons in there, and so maybe we want their first name, last name, and their email. And so like we could prompt Copilot and say like, you know, we need an organization name that has first name, last name, and email in parentheses. Cool. And then if we see it already knows that we're going to need that. Right. Oh, actually, this is kind of cool. So it's grabbing, you know, the full name, this full name method we created already. So it knows that exists. So it's going to call that, and it's also going to call the email. That's kind of cool. Awesome. And again, like I was saying too, with like pull requests and issues, like Copilot isn't just for code. It's for like anything you do like with your projects. And so like if you are writing like code of conducts, you're writing contributing files, you're writing a license, you're going to want to use Copilot there to start typing because, again, like Copilot has seen a million licenses. It's seen a million contributing files. And like, what's this, MIT, whoops, license. Is that how you spell license? Yeah, and already it knows. And it's going to, give us an entire license because, again, it's seen this 1,000 times. So, and again, like I said, I imagine this is probably the Copilot most people are the most familiar with. But so the other part of Copilot now, like let's talk a little bit about chat. And chat is kind of like ChatGPT or Claude or something like that, right in your editor. And again, it's context aware, so you can, I don't know, like maybe I'm unfamiliar with validates because again, I'm not typically a Ruby person, so I'm in here and I can just open up a chat window and I can ask Copilot, like, what are these lines doing? What is validates? Whoops. And hopefully it'll answer. And so, right, and again, it's going to look through the whole workspace. It's going to collect some information, and then kind of check APIs and stuff. And so, oh, cool. So it gives us some examples, and it says what validates does. But it didn't give it in terms of this file. That's kind of bad. What are these lines doing? Come on, Copilot. Don't let me down. Oh. Ah. Wow, that's embarrassing. Okay, well, we'll skip this. So the other thing I really like to use with Copilot, like in the chat, is like we just created these first name, these initials, and organization name, and like we're all good software engineers, so we like to write tests, and so like I'm going to ask Copilot, can you write me tests for this, and let's dismiss that. And so it's going to make some tests, hopefully. I wonder if my internet connection's bad. Come on, Copilot. You're embarrassing me. Come on, one more time. That's why live coding's so fun. Can you write me tests for this? Oh, okay. Oh, you're right. I'm going to try that one more time. And it's good to add please to this because when the machines become self-aware and they come after us, they're going to know who was nice to them. Can you please write me tests for this? Oh, something's going on with my Copilot. It looks wonky. Maybe I close this and open it again. No. Okay. Well, we can skip that too. I don't know if my internet's bad up here. And then the last thing I really like to do with Copilot, and again, there's so much more too. Like there's custom extensions now, where if you want to build your own extension, and there's a lot of them out there. Like Docker has one, Sentry has one. Like the Sentry one is really cool. Like Sentry is a tool for collecting errors that could pop up. You can integrate right with the Sentry extension and say like, hey, like this error I have, like what's causing it? And so it will pull the error and find that error in your code and suggest how to fix it, which is mind-blowing. But the last thing, I'm going to try one last thing, and then we'll jump on to a different demo. Can you suggest any simplifications or refactorings? I don't know what's going on. Maybe I just need to close my thing and reopen it. I'll try that. Refactorings. Selected it. embarrassing me. Please? Wow. Refactor. Okay, well, usually it would refactor. Again, that's why these live demos are so fun. Let's just jump on to the next part then. Where were we? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, who has heard of For Good First Issue? Anyone? No one? That's depressing. So this is something we built at GitHub. Like there's a lot of those sites out there to find like, hey, an issue to contribute to, like something tagged help wanted or like good first issue. What this is it's good first issue repositories that have that tag, but also repositories that are kind of in the public good, like that have been designated by like United Nations Digital Public Goods as a public good, or like just like other projects like that, you know, Code for America, like things like that. And you can come in here and you can like search for a project, like if you want to help foster kids or animals or whatever, like let's foster children. Yeah, so if you want to help foster kids, you can find an issue. And so I have forked this and kind of, oh, why don't I have issues? Dun, dun, dun. Issues. Okay, now we have issues. Let's make a new issue to highlight what we're doing here. Oops. Where are you? And I'll let you just read this issue while I explain it. Okay, so, and this site's actually been really helpful. Like a lot of the nonprofits using it have seen like an uptick and stuff. But we've gotten a request that they would like some, like these nonprofits and people using it would like bigger issues, like an epic. So like kind of like a For Good First epic. And so like the idea is like, hey, we should make a whole new page, but listing epic issues. And I wrote this up just using kind of plain language in the sense of like something like a non-technical person hopefully could write. And like the only technical thing in here is that the information is going to be pulled from a team request JSON file. And the reason for that is it's pretty much just a single page app where right now it's just pulling everything from a JSON file that gets rebuilt every couple hours from some GitHub Actions. But again, like, hey, we want the same thing. We want it built the same way, but we want it featuring big epic issues for people to do. And so this is kind of cool. And so there's a new GitHub product out there. Well, it's not quite out there yet, but it's coming. Has anyone heard of GitHub Workspace? Copilot Workspace? One person? Okay. Well, the rest of you are about to have your mind blown. So let's open this in Workspace. So Workspace is it's a new thing, and it parses. It's contextually aware, and it parses like using just like regular language. And so what it's doing is it's reading that issue, it's understanding it, and then it's going to like come up with a plan. And again, I don't know if my internet's bad. And also GitHub Universe is next week too. So I know like there's so many changes happening, and so but it's analyzing. And so so it's analyzing all the code. It's understanding like this summary here, this preview we wrote, and it's about to come up with a plan, hopefully. Huh. Come on, Copilot. Maybe we can ask it again, stop it. I'll give another minute. If anyone wants to shout out any questions while this is going too, I can take some questions now. Yeah, and again, like that's kind of where the validate comes in. But like one of the things that loading plan failed. Let's can we try this again? Go back. Yeah, like so the easy way or the easy answer to that is or I guess not easy answer, but like Copilot again, like it's going to be aware of your project, but like it's also going to be like kind of extra aware of the tabs you have open. And so like if you have like if you want it to be aware of like certain methods and stuff, or like if you're a Rubyist and like you use like certain factories and tests, and you want it to write like ensure it's writing the most similar to like certain tests or certain things, like have multiple tabs in your VS Code open and have like all those ones, because those are going to be like the most like have the highest priority. Let's see if we can try this again. Might have to get on the GitHub Slack and yell at Tom. Crap, I'm being recorded. Any other questions while this hopefully works? This is really sad. Come on, Copilot. Analyze our issue. So the short answer is I don't know. Like I know it's like currently it's based on a or like currently I haven't seen that. And like you also are going to have to like, and I could probably find an organization, but like you're going to have to like explicitly add organizations to it too and repos to it. So like when if you're a maintainer and you like Ruby for Good, maybe you have 40 projects in there, you're going to have to go into each individual one and say like, hey, add this one, index this one. So Copilot is going to work and do its thing. Just get on the GitHub Slack and say, hey, you're embarrassing me, folks. I think we have more time for Q&A if any other questions. Yeah. This is maybe this is why we shouldn't do live coding. Maybe I should have done a video. Yeah, and I imagine this is just because we have GitHub Universe in a week, and there's so much stuff coming. So hopefully there's going to be some of you there. It's going to be really cool. And they have some really cool swag this year. They have programmable name badges, so you can. Or I don't know if I let something out of a secret out, but. So everyone gets these programmable name badges that you can program and you can do some really cool stuff with. This is, I don't know what to tell you here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can you say a little bit more? So like the question was like when you're asking a question to explain code, like how accurate is the explanation? Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I think it's generally like fairly accurate because like especially too like when you ask it things like like from APIs or documentations and like it'll say like and a lot of times too like it will say like from the Rails docs or from active record like again talking about Ruby and Rails and stuff like this is how validates work. Yeah. And I don't know, we can maybe try this one last time. Otherwise, maybe I've wasted. Come on, this time it's going to work. Promise it'll be working though at the workshop tomorrow. Wasn't a question. Any other questions? Anything else I can chat about? I'm happy to talk about Ruby for Good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm really sad this isn't working, because this is because again, this is kind of like a bigger change, and because I expect this to for Copilot now to suggest the creation of probably somewhere between 5 to 10 files, and probably modify another 5 to 10 files. Like again, I don't know what it's going to do, but like that's what I suspect. And so, because again, it's an entire page that we're asking it to add. And again, like that page, like since it's a React page, like there's going to be like multiple components. Like there's a hero component. There's like a pay, there's a list component. There's a list item. There's inside the items. There's all these things. And so, because again, I'm assuming it's going to be smart, and it's going to look at the current structure of because the one I asked it to model it off. Like just the regular repository page, and it's gonna like follow a similar pattern, like use similar naming conventions, similar like components, and yeah. So right, and so I guess yeah, to answer your question, like especially with a tool like Workspace that sadly I'm unable to demo right now, you can ask these larger, more complex things, and like I said, like where it's going to generate 5, 10 new files, edit 5, 10 files, and do something really cool. But yeah. Kind of want to yell at the Copilot team. Anyways, any other kind of fun questions? And happy to keep plugging at this, but this is really sad that it's not working. Live demos. And I can't, and I guess maybe that's why the other Copilot stopped working, and I'm wondering if there's some sort of cert or something happening. So, yeah, maybe ask again so everyone can hear.
Okay, so I'm a little bit familiar with the Copilot into my organization, and initially, like the prompts that I used to throw at the Copilot were not like very nice, right? Like so, I had to improve like how I create my own prompts, and then it would suggest me a better implementation. But then, like right now, I'm learning about like the sessions and then the context window that goes into the LLMs and all that stuff. So, yeah. What is your suggestion to like developers like us that so that we leverage Copilot in a better way rather than yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And so right, like so one of the things. I guess like the simplest answer is just to keep practicing and playing, like because I've noticed too, like how I prompted Copilot, or like even too, like how I prompt Claude or ChatGPT, like these different tools, like it has changed like over the last year, last 6 months even, and like I have like I have a subscription to Claude and to ChatGPT and to Cursor, like I'm using all the tools because I feel like too, like this is kind of like the this is kind of the new thing, and so I'm trying to stay on top of it all. But yeah, like all I can say is just keep trying, keep practicing. And one of the things though too with Copilot too, like the context window is constantly getting bigger. It's getting bigger with all the different things. Whether you're using like ChatGPT or Claude, like they're constantly expanding their context windows. And maybe too, if I switch to one of the beta previews, it will work. Maybe they're running. I can show that. Factor this.
Maybe you run into a rate limit issue?
I shouldn't, because like I have the employee one. So I don't think so. And yeah, and it's yeah, so there's something happening, and this is really unfortunate. I wish I could show this off, because like I said, this is pretty a pretty fun, cool thing. Yeah. But yeah, I guess keep answering questions or keep looking silly up here.
No, it happens.
Yeah, it does.
Now I'm actually curious. Have you heard or have you tried one called? It's very new, called Cursor.
Actually, I
okay.
just said that. Like I've used
yeah.
Cursor. It's a lot of fun. It's good. Yes, it's good. Although I recommend Copilot.
Okay.
It's a good tool. And I like it. And like I said, I play with it, and I play. Like I said, I have subscriptions to Claude and to a bunch of them because again, just to see how it works. And for whatever reason too, like maybe back to the other question too, is like I've noticed like the prompts I give tend to give better results in like Claude than even like the new O1 preview and stuff. And maybe that's just like how I write them. Because like my friend, he gets much better results from the O1 preview. So. But I guess if we can't do this, we can I don't know. We can keep trying. And happy to, like if you wanna come to the workshop tomorrow, hopefully we'll have this all sorted out and everything will be working. Like I said, you can find Adam or America afterwards, or myself. We'll get you added to the enterprise organization we've created for this. That'll get you all the Copilot fun access, so then we can do some good together tomorrow.
Great. All right. Good.
Yeah, and so I'm so sorry. That
Thank
didn't
you.
work.
Yeah, no worries. I think things like that happen sometimes, and just when you're at conference, it happens.
Yeah.
But thank you to everyone for being patient. Yeah.